your motivation. Your motivation. You need discipline.
The ultimate lesson here is this. Everybody's on their own path. And I don't want to judge someone for wanting to be free and easy. I just want you to understand that there's a cost to that. And the cost that you're going to have to that isn't going to come until later. Most people need to shut the fuck up and focus on that version of themselves they want to become and actually be willing to become it. And that's what's ultimately going to create the fulfillment that you're looking for. It's not going to be your cold plunge. It's not going to be your morning routine. It's going to be the work that you fucking do to become that version of yourself that is the exact version that you know you're supposed to become, and then being proud of it. That's what's going to create the fulfillment that you're searching for.
And I'm telling you that you don't need to determine. I'm telling you it's worth it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you it's worth it. Yeah. And you know what? You actually know it's worth it. That's why you're asking this question. You know it's worth it. You know it's worth it to have discipline, but you think there's an easier way. Yeah. You think that it's something that people have. You think that when Jocko's alarm clock goes off, it's like, oh, just like my father taught me, I rise and I shine. You know, like, no. It's like the pillow feels soft and comfortable.
Yeah.
And the alarm clock is banging on my head and I don't like it. Yeah. But you know what? I know it's worth it to get up and get after it. I know it's worth it, and you know it's worth it.
Here's the thing, though.
We all know it's worth it.
I am cold. I am emotionless. I am zen, at peace, ready for war.
You don't start things and not finish them. You don't quit. There's nothing that comes out of quitting besides knowing that you didn't finish. We finish everything. You start it, finish it. If you're going to do it to try and be the best.
How bad do you want it? There's two options. To continue forward, pushing upward. And if you do, that dream is given birth, and forever you will live in the reality of it. If you stop, quit, throw in the towel, I promise you there's no distance you can travel far enough to find that dream again. For it is dead.
For me, anger was good. Anger was good because it was motivating. The more I could create an enemy, the more I wanted to go out and kill those guys.
The thing is, man, it's always going to be a party. It's always going to be a time to celebrate and a time to join friends or a day to... I mean, the bars are always open. Always open. No matter how old you are, they're always open, you know? What's not always open is the opportunity to check the box in life, you know, to achieve your dreams. That's not always open, man.
It's time to get back to work. Stop hearing yourself talk. Get off the podcast. Don't be on social media too much. Cut out all the noise. Get back to the mental lab.
It's time to stay focused. It's time to decide clubs, partying, trying to fit in and socialize, rub elbows with everybody so people can stop calling you weird.
If you have to ask how to get motivated to go to the gym, you don't need to be going to the gym. You don't want it enough. When you're sick and tired of looking and feeling like shit, you'll show up, motherfucker. I'll see you there. Because you're going to look in the mirror and you're going to be like, fuck that. You're going to want to be in the gym.
Trial and error. You know, you grow up and you make game-winning shots and it's awesome. You come back the next day and miss a game-winning shot and it's misery. And then the next day comes and you're back playing again, and you understand that life has this cyclical nature where it's, you know, what you do on Monday, it's fantastic, but then Tuesday is a bad day. But guess what? There's Wednesday. Yeah. So are we just supposed to live our lives like this the whole time? You know, versus just staying like this and understanding that it's really just a journey of evolution every day. It's just constant improvement, constant curiosity, constantly getting better. The results don't really matter. It's the figuring out that matters.
Yeah. Hard work brings great rewards. This is a reminder of the hard work and dedication that I put into everything that I've done. I'm not content because I know where I came from and I don't ever want to go back.
Let me tell you something, homie. These women ain't going nowhere. These clubs, these parties, all this shit ain't going nowhere. The more weird you are is a reflection of how committed you are to focusing on your shit, molding and shaping and developing your ideas and your craft so that when it's time for you to make your rounds, you gonna fly.
Man, how do you do what you do? At the end of the day, I ask myself one question: can I take one more step? And usually the answer is yes. So if you can answer that question and not take another step, that is real failure. That is real quitting. So a lot of people can take one more step, but they choose not to. I don't know if you can take 2 steps. You got to answer that question after you take the first step. But I can always take one more step, so if I choose not to, that's on me. And I got to live with that.
If I could go back, I'd tell younger me, you're going to do some pretty great things, but you do not need to be great. All you have to do is be yourself. That will always be enough. What's that mean to you?
You know, I've had a lot of different thoughts that have come into my mind now having a child. When Courtney was pregnant, thinking about raising a child, myself when I was a child and all these things. And I think I always felt like I wanted to be good at everything I did and be great at what I did. And I never expected to be as good as I was. So it would just be such an interesting relief to be able to give myself to be like, you are going to be great. You're going to have all these things that you want, but you're also going to realize that they're not as important as you think they are. You know, like you're going to come to the realization where the relationships and your values and everything that you enjoy and the experiences and everything are going to come down to those spectacular moments on stage at the Olympia. They're going to be much more simpler than that. They're just going to be those moments where you're being yourself.
If you want to change your life, you must change your ways. You must develop discipline. You must develop strength. It doesn't matter where you are in life. It really doesn't. Because the great thing about life is it's always your next move. Your next move that counts.
You're going to lose sleep. You'll doubt whether it'll work. You'll stress to make ends meet. You won't finish your to-do list. You'll wonder whether you made the right call and have no way to know for years. This is what hard feels like, and that's okay. Everything worth doing is hard, and the more worth doing it is, the harder it is. The greater the payoff, the greater the hardship. If it's hard, good. It means no one else will do it. More for you.
I get happier about the harder it is because I know that no one else will follow.
It's a selection effect.
And I think if you can shift from this is hard to no one else will be able to do this, then it flips from being this thing that you're like, oh, poor me, to oh, poor everyone else who's going to have to fucking try.
Yeah.
We're not on this stage just because of talent or ability. We're up here because of 4 a.m. We're up here because of 2-a-days or 5-a-days. We're up here because we had a dream and let nothing stand in our way. If anything tried to bring us down, we used it to make us stronger. We were never satisfied, never finished, will never be retired. My high school English teacher, Mr. Fisk, actually paid attention one time in class, and he said, he had this beautiful quote, and it read, "Rest at the end, not in the middle."
You won. You f***ing won. When you walk out of here today, you know, you've won. Imagine walking out the door a loser. I'd rather die. I would rather die than be that loser guy. Think about that. Do you want to walk out that door a damn loser, or do you want to walk out the door a winner? You know, I'll fight to the death. And sometimes I actually went close to death. It sounds crazy, but you got to give it that much if you want results. Otherwise, you'll be like everybody else. The majority of the population, they think they're training hard. That was hard.
I'd say one of the strongest mental frames that has gotten me through my hardest times is thinking this will be the story that I will one day tell. And that means the harder it is, the bigger the dragon, the more epic the story, and by consequence, the more epic the hero.
To be the best in the world at what you do, it's not about being a Navy SEAL, people. The best at what you do, you have to be unbalanced to find every bit of energy and strength that you have to pull it off. Then you get balanced once you become great.
You find no answers in the light. None. It's too happy, it's too nice. And we don't need to be taught how to live in happiness. That just comes naturally to us. Happy moments, but the dark times, man, you can't get there unless you put yourself there.
And I'm telling you from the bottom of my soul, it is so easy to beat people today. They are so soft. They have no work ethic. No one can stick with anything. Everyone's distracted. They're on social media. They're counting their notifications because they can't stick with shit. They can't say no.
So I'm obsessed with finding myself now after and not having to prove anything to anybody other than myself and my family, you know, but really myself, and realizing that is enough. You know what I'm saying? Like that, like giving your best is enough.
Don't follow what most people do because you don't want the results that most people get. The average person is obese, likely to be divorced, and has less than 1K in the bank. It feels safe to do what everyone else is doing, but it's actually a terrible decision.
It's like the best way to guarantee to not have the life that you want is to do what everyone else is doing. Unless you want what everyone else has, which no one does.
Turn your feelings off when it comes down to you wanting to be better. What that means is when that alarm clock goes off, your feelings gotta go away. It's raining outside, it's cold outside, when you don't wanna put those long hours in at work, that's what I'm talking about. Your feelings must go away.
So it's like if you're playing a video game and the way to win the game was to make the most successful character, right? You would have probably a really character-driven human being in terms of like they'd be patient, they'd be hardworking. Like you think about all these traits that they would have, right? They'd probably be tough emotionally, like etc. All right, cool. That's the character, and that's the person who's going to be really successful. We can all probably agree on that. Okay, how do you create someone who's patient? How do you create someone who's tough? How do you create someone who, right? So all of a sudden, if we had to then engineer the game in order to boost those points, we'd have to get them beat up a lot so that they could get tough. We'd have to make them wait a long time so they could become patient.
That's right.
And so to the point that you made about like these people who become really successful have these traits and also share the fact that they've been through all this shit. It's like, well, they got the trait from the shit, and then the trait was the ultimate output of the experience, and that trait then made them super successful that they didn't have earlier.
How it's so hard to see the good if you're only seeing the bad. Like there's so many people that struggle with what their version of success is because they're looking at someone else's. There's so many people that struggle with their world of relationship because they're judging theirs based off of someone else's, right? And when you're constantly in the space of not realizing or noticing your world, your reality, because you're living in what appears to be someone else's, well, your is never going to be right. It's never going to be right.
So just like success, no matter what field or whatever endeavor you are, and success, whether it's in the gym here, or if it's in business, or whatever success is, the underlying quality of that life runs parallel to a commitment. They go hand in hand, guys. It doesn't matter how much money you have or how much success you have. Well, the overall quality of life is that journey, the struggle of it, and that journey and that struggle is successful only when the commitment rises equally to the effort. And nothing given to you is ever valued. It's what's earned its value that you can build from.
It's rarely the information or the intensity that makes things hard. It's the sticking with it that makes it hard. And so the desire that we have to quit is simply breaking the consistency. And so that's why consistency has always been the hardest thing for most people to achieve. But the intensity of what you have to do to be successful is much lower than most people expect. And so oftentimes they suffer significantly more in a short period of time than is required to be successful over a much longer period of time with a much lower intensity. The path of personal development is befriending uncertainty. And so I obviously sit from the entrepreneurial perspective, but almost all decisions that you make in the beginning, you have incomplete data and you have to make decisions anyways. And so it's growing comfortable with taking your best bad guess and being directionally correct rather than searching for a perfect answer, because a perfect answer assumes perfect information, which you can only have after you begin. And so in some ways, making a decision is the perfect answer so that you can get the information feedback to then improve the quality of the decision later.
You have to tap into suffering every day of your life because we have so much scarring that we have to clean up. You have to look at suffering as almost like I look at failure. To succeed, you must fail. In failure and in suffering, all the answers are in there. All the answers to all the test questions. The test is your life. All the answers are in there. You don't have to live in suffering and pain and failure all the time. You have to learn, I need to visit it. Like people hate working out. You're only gonna visit working out maybe an hour a day. 23 other hours of the day, you're not in it. But how you become in shape is you must visit suffering, visit working out 1 hour a day, visit suffering 1 hour a day, visit your past failures 1 hour a day. The relationship with it is the answers are in there. They are in there.
But can people just make that change? I mean,
Yes,
look,
you can,
I believe they
but you
can.
have to plan it out. The way you can change is you have to put aside enough money to give yourself a window, and then you have to have a plan, and you have to spend all your waking hours outside of whatever job you do planning your escape, and you have to come to the realization very clearly that you f***ed up and you got yourself stuck. So whatever you're doing, you have to do it like your life depends on it. And whether it is you're trying to be an author and if you're gonna try to be an author and you're working 8 hours a day plus commuting plus family responsibilities or whatever else you have, whatever time that you have to attack like you're trying to save the world. You're trying to save your life. You don't want to drown. That 1.5 hours a day that you have to write, god damn, you better be caffeinated and motivated. You gotta go. You gotta get after it. And you gotta have discipline. Most people don't have those things. Most people don't understand what it's like to really go for something and to know that the consequences of not doing that are horrific.
People are driven way more by fear of insufficiency than they are with some well-balanced, perfect desire to just maximize their greatness in life. Like, the activation energy for almost everybody is, I'm scared I might be a piece of shit. What? Hang on. Oh God, I might be a piece of shit. I genuinely might be a piece of shit. I need to go and do something so outrageous that I can't be a piece of shit. There's no way that it can happen. I might be a coward. Oh my God, what can I do to stop myself from being a coward? That's the activation energy.
It's funny because if you regress fear to its most basic form, it's death. And death is the greatest motivator. And like, you can prove it in a simple example. It's like if I all of a sudden go up to anybody on the street and I put a gun in their head and I say, point a gun at their head and I say, go do this thing, they'll go do it. But if I say, you can have anything you want if you do this, they're willing to go 10 times harder with a gun in their face to not die. And so if you take fear and regress it all the way down to its basis form, like, that's what the insecurity is. Like, if they think I won't be enough, and if they don't think I won't be enough, then this won't happen. If this won't happen, I'll be alone and I'll be dead. Or like, if you just regress it all the way down, like, that's all it is. And so, like, the biggest achievers in life, I think, have most directly tied them not doing whatever it is that they want to do to death, whether they're consciously aware of it or not. And then that's what motivates them harder.
It's hard when you're young to wake up in the off season at 6 a.m. to go train and work out, knowing that all your friends are sleeping in and eating pancakes. It's hard when you're on your way to practice, weighed down with all your gear, and it's 90 degrees out and all the other kids are at the pool or at the beach, and your body is already completely exhausted from workouts in 2-a-days. It's hard to throw, catch, block, and tackle, and hit kids when they're way bigger and way more developed than you, only to go home that night bruised and battered and strained, but knowing you have to show up again the next day for just the chance to try again. But understand this, life is hard.
I never forget one time I was running by a graveyard when I was just trying to become, I was fat. And I ran by a graveyard and I looked out there and I have all these epiphanies, man. I have all these moments of it's crazy, man, of just thought. Cause I'm always by myself. I'm always in deep thought about how to be better. And I look out there, I'm like, man, I wonder how many of you motherfuckers in there just are so upset with how you lived your life and just regret how you lived it. And I'm running a 300-pound man thinking, man, don't fucking die like this, bro. Don't die like this. So people wonder where this comes from me. It comes from such deep thought of trying to see what this is all about. What is this life all about? What am I all about? Why am I here? I had to find purpose. And my suffering, it had a purpose. It had a purpose.
The only thing that you can do is win so big that all of them constantly compare themselves to you, and then you'll forget they exist. And that's when he said, success is the only revenge. He's like, it's not the best revenge. He's like, it's the only one. There's no other revenge, because everything else is petty. Everything else does show that you were thinking about these people all day long, which means they win by default.
So if you're in the woods and you don't know where to go, start walking. You got to start walking, because the perspective's not going to change. You have to start moving forward. You have to start taking steps in order to improve your vision, improve your perspective, change your perspective, make some kind of progress. And worst case scenario, you figure out that you walked the wrong direction. Okay, now you can go walk in the other direction, and that's going to be fine. But standing there lost and not doing anything is just waiting to die, waiting to starve to death. Don't let that happen.
Motherfucker, the purpose is you. We forget that. Every fucking day I wake up and I don't want to do some fucking shit. I'm like, okay, man, do you want to be a bitch today? Do you want to feel like a little bitch? Do you want to walk around all day knowing that you could, but you didn't?
If you are consistent and you have none of the other attributes, he's like, you still might be successful. He's like, it's very tough for people who are consistent to not be successful. And he makes an especially pointed point about consistency, because in my opinion, it's one of the most difficult of the virtues for humans to do, because we're so attracted to novelty.
Give a man a purpose and the ability to achieve it, and he will crawl over broken glass with a smile. And I think that feeling capable and powerful and competent and respected and admired is something that will get a man so far. You give a man those things and he'll deal with suffering until the ends of the earth.
The fear is never reaching your potential.
That's it.
That always falling short, always quitting before you're done, always procrastinating, always not doing the right thing. And then one day you're an old man.
Yep.
And you look back and go, God, I could have been great.
Yep.
I could have been great.
I don't care how good you are in anything. You don't have discipline. You ain't nobody.
Right.
You're nothing without discipline, because you give up under the slightest struggle without discipline.
100%.
Tell me discipline is doing what you hate to do, but do it like you love it.
Doing what you hate to do, but do it like you love it.
Here's what I know. I know that until you make a decision that you no longer want to feel how you feel, or you no longer want to think the way that you think, or you no longer want to have the kind of results or no results that you have, until you make that decision that, you know what? I know I don't feel great. I know I doubt myself. I know I've had a lot of bad things happen. I know there's a lot that I regret, but damn it, with the time that I have left in my life, I really want to start to enjoy myself. I want to take better care of myself. I want to feel happy. You don't even have to believe you deserve it yet. You can just want it. You've got to start there. You've got to start with wanting something better for yourself. And then I personally think the most important thing is to start acting like the person who has the things that you want right now, even though you don't feel like it.
Patience, the thing that goes beyond hustle and hard work. The discipline of patience, the thing that goes beyond hustle and hard work, right? Because we all talk about hustle, we talk about working hard, we talk about grinding, this, that, and the third, but nobody talks to you about patience. Nobody speaks about that patience. Because in the patience, that's where you're gonna make it or you're gonna break. The discipline of patience, right? Because when you're not patient, you can make a lot of mistakes, man. Like I told you, the quote said, don't judge each day by the harvest you reap. You judge each day by the seeds that you sow, right? When you sow a seed, you gotta be what? Oh, you gotta be patient.
The reality of life is this: the world's relentless, and it will not stop beating your ass until you wake up and start beating it back. And you know, when I see self-love and all this, I do understand where they're coming from. Those people are talking to people who are on the brink, right? Yep. And they think their entire world's crumbling, and they're telling them it's okay. But I actually think that's the wrong message. Mm-hmm. I think the right message is this: hey, this is how it is if you don't go hard. This is what you're going to get if you do not try hard to develop yourself and get off the bench and get in the game. And I say that out of a place of love and caring for people, because I want them to feel better and I want them to do better. And I know what's not going to get them better is just accepting themselves and all their behavior and all their vices and inaction and procrastination and low standards is creating the way you feel.
You can have what you want in 5 years, but there's 2 conditions. You have to know what it is, and you have to aim at it. Okay. Figure out what you want. Write it down. Figure out what you could do to start moving towards that. Okay. Do that with your family relationships. Do that with your friendships. Do that with your career. Do that with your education. Think about your misuse of alcohol and drugs and other things that might drag you down. You want to drink? Okay, what do you mean by that exactly? How often? How much is too much? How are you going to constrain that and why? Develop a vision, and you have to do that in dialogue with yourself, right? It's like, if I could have what I wanted, what would satisfy me? And you might think, well, I could never get that. And I could say, well, maybe not, but I'll tell you one thing, man. You can move towards it. And I know that everyone who knows the underlying neuroscience knows this. Almost all the pleasure is in the moving toward. But if you set up a goal that you think is, just on the edge of conceivability, then every time you move even a tiny bit towards that, you're going to think, good work, man, good work. You get a little kick from that. You get a little stronger from that.
You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that it's possible, because you can create your reality. The perception that you have of the world, if you think there's only scarcity, there's no opportunity, that's how you are going to interact with reality. If you think that there's abundance, if you think that there's opportunity, then these things will manifest themselves to you. So you have to believe that you can, right? And the way that you believe, and the way that you can get to that state, because a lot of people are like, I have a lot of doubt. So do I. I have it all the time. Even if at these levels, right? You're doing 7-figure months. Dude, there's people doing 8-figure months. That's hard to fathom. That's hard to imagine. Yeah. But it's still possible. Yeah, of course. Is it difficult? Absolutely. But it's a mindset shift. So it's a mindset shift, one of, hey, it's possible. 2, it's an abundance mindset. You can either have a delusion of scarcity, which most people are like, hey, it's not possible, or this is not a reality. And I get it. You have to have a delusional mindset. Yeah. You have to be so far out there to believe that it's possible.
Find something difficult to do. You need that. You're not built for comfort or pleasure. Like, if that comes along, good. If you have a day where you're comfortable and there's some things around you that give pleasure, have some sense and enjoy it. But don't be thinking that's what your life is aimed at. That's contemptible. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that. And if they orient themselves in that hedonistic direction, there's nothing in it but shame.
Man, I'm built different, period. I'm just built different, man. And I've always had an eye, a discipline and a work ethic that I've had at a young age that I just apply it to everything that I want to do. So I would say that, I rarely go out, reading, trying to reverse engineer how to be successful. Like, how do I, start my own production company? How do I do this? How do I do that? And I always felt like if other cats was out partying and I was home studying, I would have an edge.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? If cats was out here doing this and that, being hungover the night before, I would have an edge if I wasn't. I'm a delayed, gratification. I'm that type of person. So like, I'm literally like, all right, I will party later. I work hard now, so the second half of my life, I can do whatever the fuck I want. That's been my mentality. It's like, I'm not going to trick off my early years for partying and then worry about struggling, how I'm going to make it, how I'm going to take care of my family, how I'm going to take care of everybody else. Like, that's not going to be me. I'm going to grind it out now. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to set up the foundation so I can enjoy myself later.
If there was a big meta indicator that you're doing the right thing, doing what everyone isn't doing is already probably the single biggest indicator that you're doing the right thing. Like, if I could wish nothing else on my child whenever I choose to have them in the future, is that they have high agency, which is that they make decisions independent from the opinions of other people. And when we hear words like authentic and original and things like that, it's because the person starts at square one and says, well, what do I want? And then they start building from there.
Greatness is not meant for a few chosen people. It's meant for those who persistently pursue their dreams every day and make that choice when they wake up. So just a mentality, really.
Because this world we live in is tough. It's tough. It will beat you down. The world and the life that we live in is the ultimate competitor. It will try to take you out. It will find your weakness and it will just hammer you.
It's like a personal curse.
100%. So if I can help you build belief, build confidence to the point where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. You've faced your demons. You've been able to go on an audiobook in your mind. Maybe you didn't write a book, but in your mind, you were able to hear all your past traumas. You were able to listen to them. You're able to say, okay, now I can now talk to people about what I went through. I'm no longer embarrassed. I'm no longer ashamed. Being ashamed is one of the biggest things that kill people nowadays. In their minds, kill them from moving forward. I'm ashamed of myself. Don't ever be ashamed of anything you've done in your life. Face it, fix it, make it better. We are humans. But then again, if you always think that we're humans, you will always just be a human and always make the same mistakes. You must take this knowledge that you learn from all this shit is knowledge. So I'm just trying to give people that strength to go in the archives of your life. Because while you're probably fucked up, it's probably something happened to you in your life. Go through the archives, dig it up, study it, and then use it for yourself. That's the main purpose for me right now.